The past few months have been both beautiful and busy. Springtime came, bringing with it warmer temperatures, greener grass, my 46th birthday, and beautiful flowers, along with a sense of newness. The kind of newness that springtime is often known for. Creatively speaking, I did all the same things: painting, drawing. I tried to write songs, but there was in the background a distraction. Of course, normal life things and adulting can bring its own distraction, but this distraction was something different, something special, something I've never done before. This was something that I had never dreamed of doing in all of my 46 years, and it filled me with fear and excitement at the same time, and a sense of responsibility, a sense of pressure, but also of honor. And the opportunity to create something that I could take pride in and that other people would remember, something that was impactful, something that mattered. Not just to me, but to others. And so the past few months, I've been consumed with this one thing, and it has grown me and stretched me and caused me to see myself in another light. In fact, saying yes to this one thing has opened up a world of possibilities for me, something I never thought that I was capable of has been unlocked in me. And this experience has served to remind me that it's never too late for growth, never too late for change, and never too late to challenge yourself with something completely new and different. On May 30th, 2025, I officiated a wedding. It's good to see you. I know it's been a while and I haven't been great at keeping in touch. It's just that sometimes the world gets to be a little too much and I have to retreat. I know I'm not alone. Perhaps you do it too. But the point is, I didn't mean to ghost you. I just had a lot of stuff to do. Okay, so about 2 years ago, my only brother, who happens to be 10 years my junior, got engaged to his girlfriend, whom he had been dating for, I think, 6 years at that point. So nobody was surprised. The surprise came when he called me and asked me to officiate his wedding. Girl, what? I couldn't say no. I could have, but I didn't want to. So I said yes. But it was 2 years away, no big deal. I had plenty of time to prepare
and wrap my head around the idea of doing it. And as we got closer and I got more clarity, I realized that this was a situation where I needed to learn a lot. I've never officiated a wedding before, and I had obviously been to weddings, seen weddings. I had my own wedding. But most of those weddings have been more, I guess, religious in nature, at churches, or at least like with the minister and the prayers and all of that. So I had a lot to learn. So I set out to learn it. It's my only brother's wedding. I wanted to do really well. I wanted them to be happy with their wedding, not regret asking a non-professional person to do it. And when I learned something, it's like everything else stops. For the most part, in my creative life, I can dabble here and there. I might stop working on music if I'm focused on painting or whatever, but I pretty much do all the things all the time. But this required my full attention because I had to learn sort of the basics of wedding officiating, and then I had to learn how to make it engaging, not boring. I wanted to work on my storytelling skills, become a good storyteller for this situation. And so that's what I've been doing. That's where I've been. Every thought in the back of my mind, whilst running my kids here and there and back and forth and to and fro, has been about this wedding. And so I did. I learned, I read books, I watched I watched videos, I listened to podcasts, I did my research. I did enough research to where I knew the basics, and then also how to make more traditional aspects updated, a little bit more modern and less tailored for a religious event. And then I got to writing. I got to researching. I got to talking to the couple, my brother and his fiance, and really figured out what they wanted, what was important to them. And for me, this was not just officiating my little brother's wedding. This was them trusting me to tell their story. And I wanted to do it justice. Share with the people this kind of amazing, unbelievable love story that they have. In the process, I realized that my favorite part was sharing their story, writing their story, learning their story, getting answers from questionnaires and seeing their responses. And it just, yes, it was stressful. There were sentences that I ran over and over and over in my head, but it was so good. It was so much fun. And it really took almost every creative juice that I had to do it. I listened to a lot of storytelling podcasts. So I love storytelling, but never considered myself a storyteller outside of a poem or a song. And so I found that to be really enjoyable and very exciting, and I loved it. So I finally came up about 2 weeks out with a firm script and understanding of what I was going to say, what I was going to share, and then I started working on the delivery. I practiced in the shower, I practiced in the car, I practiced when I had a random 10 minutes, I practiced
in front of my daughter, I practiced in front of the mirror, I practiced in front of my cats and the birds out back. I practiced a lot.
And on the day of, I did have a script with me, obviously, just as a backup. I had a script and I had everything written out, and I also wanted to save it so that I could give it to them so they could have it as like a keepsake. So I knew I had a backup, but I still memorized the main speech part. And the wedding day came, and it was really fun because my sister-in-law included my daughter and I in the getting ready in the bridal suite with the bridesmaids and stuff, and it was so much fun. I'm working on not being as socially awkward and insecure around other people. And a lot of it comes from just feeling misunderstood and also being relentlessly bullied. In elementary and middle school, I was the new kid always. My mom was white. My dad was nowhere to... My mom is white. I shouldn't say was. My dad was nowhere to be found. And so I got picked on a lot for what my peers thought was me being adopted. Then I got picked on for having freckles. I got picked on for being bigger, I guess. I got picked on for my hair. Listen, children are relentless. Kids can be really cruel.
The day of, I rehearsed once, and while I was waiting to get my makeup done, and then I got my makeup done, got dressed, and after that it was kind of a blur. We took some pictures with family, and it was raining, but it really turned out to be a beautiful ceremony. They had to have it indoors, which was not their preference, and to be fair, it would have been absolutely gorgeous outdoors, but couldn't do it because it was raining and threatening to flood, and while we were actually at the wedding, there was a tornado warning. It was a lot, but I expected to be nervous. I expected to feel trepidation, and I remember thinking as I walked down the aisle, I'm so excited to do this. And I got up there, and to be fair, lots of it is a blur, but the crowd was with me. They laughed with me, all the parts where I wanted them to laugh. I got choked up during one part, and I think other people did too. And then it was over. And the end didn't go how I planned, but it was their wedding, so they were happy with it, so I'm happy with it. I did beat myself up for a little bit over it not going exactly the way that I had written. But again, that was just me, my little inner child, being upset that I didn't do it perfectly. And I didn't need to do it perfectly, because as it was, the way that it was, as imperfect as it was, I got so many compliments. Nobody said, oh, that ceremony was boring. Nobody was bored. To be fair, it wasn't very long. It was probably maybe 12 minutes start to finish, but that was fine because they had a cocktail hour with a saxophonist playing. It was beautiful. The lesson I think that I took from this, well, there's many. Lesson number one, I love my brother more than anything. Lesson number two, there were many times throughout the waiting period in between when they asked me and when the wedding happened that I thought, oh my gosh, why did you say yes to this? This is crazy. What are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. And the self-doubt really tried to do its thing. But I had committed, and they were expecting this, so I was responsible for it, and I had to figure out
how to quiet that voice and embrace the opportunity. And I feel like I was successful in doing that. And, you know, maybe most people don't think that writing a wedding ceremony and script is a creative thing, but it really is. They trusted me to tell their story, and I feel like I did a good job, and they felt like I did a good job. So I'm really proud of myself. Maybe this is your sign to undertake a creative endeavor that you don't have the skills for. You don't know what you're doing. Because I promise you that you'll surprise yourself. Do research, learn how to do it, and then do your best, because that's how we grow.
And if the world stops now, and I have your hand to hold, honey, I know